Do you ever feel like life is moving forward for everyone else, but not for you? It is a quiet, heavy feeling. You look around and see friends getting new jobs. You see family members reaching their goals. The world feels in motion while you stand still. You are not unique. I have felt it. Many people I know have felt it. You are not broken or behind. You are simply at a crossroads, waiting for a sign or a perfect moment. The perfect moment rarely arrives on its own. We must create it. I used to be a professional waiter. Not in a restaurant, but in life. I told myself I'd start writing my book when inspired. I promised I'd start a fitness routine when my schedule cleared. I thought I needed more knowledge. I thought I needed more money. I thought I needed more confidence. But inspiration is a fickle guest. Schedules never truly clear up. Confidence is built, not given. Months turned into years. I watched others make progress because they began. They started moving even when the path wasn't clear. Action comes first. Readiness follows. You don't need to have it all figured out. Grand plans can paralyze. They feel too big. The secret is to start small. So small, you can't say no. Begin with a single, manageable step. Take a step today, right now. This isn't a guru lecture. I'm someone who learned by doing. Small, consistent actions beat bursts of motivation. I'm not offering a flawless system, just a few simple, practical ideas that work. Use them to build momentum. Prove to yourself one small action at a time that you can move forward. So those are the basics. Let me tell you a short story about a friend of mine. We will call him Mark. Mark felt deeply stuck in his career. He worked in data entry. He had taken that job right out of college. Years had passed. The work was repetitive and unfulfilling. He dreamed of becoming a web developer. He wanted to create things. He wanted to solve interesting problems. The gap between his reality and his dream felt vast. He browsed online courses promising to teach everything in 6 months, but they required hours of study each night. With a young family and a full-time job, that felt impossible. The size of the goal made him feel hopeless, so for 2 years, he did nothing. One evening we talked about it. He felt frustrated and defeated. I asked, "What is the smallest possible step you could take?" He thought about it. He couldn't commit to an hour a day, but he could commit to 10 minutes. 10 minutes. It seemed laughably small. He decided for 10 minutes each night after his kids were in bed he would do one thing. He wouldn't pressure himself to learn a whole concept. He would just open his laptop. Some nights he read one article about coding. Other nights he watched a single 5-minute tutorial. On good nights he wrote a few lines of code. He made a simple rule: show up for 10 minutes, 5 nights a week. He put a big X on each day he completed the task. At first it felt pointless. What could you learn in 10 minutes? But the X's started to add up. After a month he had a chain of 20 X's. He hadn't become a developer, but he had become someone who consistently worked toward his goal. That identity shift was powerful. His 10 minutes often stretched to 15 or 20. Starting was the hardest part. After 3 months, something had changed. He understood the basics of web development. He could build a very simple web page. Not much, but infinitely more than 3 months earlier. After a year he completed several introductory courses in bite-sized pieces. He built a small portfolio of projects. He began applying for junior developer roles. He didn't get the first one, or the second. He kept learning. Fear is often the biggest obstacle. It is the silent gatekeeper that stands between where we are and where we want to be. The fear of failure is the loudest. We imagine trying something new and falling flat on our face. We worry about the shame and embarrassment that might follow. What will people think? What will they say? This fear convinces us that it is safer not to try at all. It whispers that if we do not try, we cannot fail. But this is a lie. Not trying is its own form of failure. It is the failure to live up to our own potential. It is the failure to discover what we are capable of. We also carry a deep-seated fear of judgment. We are social creatures, and the thought of being criticized or laughed at can be paralyzing. We want to present a perfect, polished version of ourselves to the world. We think we must be an expert before we are allowed to begin. We believe we must have the perfect business plan before we launch. We believe we must have the perfect physique before we step into a gym. This pursuit of perfection before action is a trap. It is a sophisticated form of procrastination. The truth is, no one starts as an expert. Every master was once a beginner. Every polished final product was once a messy first draft. The antidote to fear is not courage. You do not have to wait until you feel brave. The antidote to fear is action. Specifically, it is small, non-threatening action. Fear thrives in the abstract. It grows in the space between thinking and doing. When you take one small step, you drag the fear out of the realm of imagination and into the real world. You can analyze it. You can see it for what it is. A small action provides data. It shows you that the failure you imagined was not as catastrophic as you thought, or it shows you that you are a little bit better at something than you assumed. Each tiny action shrinks the fear. Think about learning to speak in public. The thought of giving a 1-hour presentation is terrifying, but what about saying one sentence in a small meeting? That is manageable. What about asking one question? Even easier. Action calibrates our fear. It gives us a more realistic perspective. When fear shows up, and it will, do not try to argue with it. Do not try to think your way out of it. Acknowledge it. Let it sit in the passenger seat, but do not let it drive. Then, take one small, simple action. Make a phone call. Write one paragraph. Do one push-up. Action is the only thing that quiets the voice of fear. Your comfort zone is a dangerous place. It does not feel dangerous, of course. It feels safe. It is predictable. It is the routine of your current job, the familiar rhythm of your daily habits, the predictable conversations you have with the same people. There are no surprises here, but there is also no growth. A life lived entirely inside the comfort zone is a life that slowly shrinks. To grow, to learn, to become more than you are today, you must be willing to step into the discomfort of the unknown. Every new skill, every meaningful relationship, every great achievement exists just outside the border of what feels easy. Think about the first day at a new job. It feels awkward. You do not know anyone. You do not know the unspoken rules. You have to ask questions that feel silly. It is uncomfortable. But within a few weeks, that new environment becomes your new comfort zone. The same is true for learning any new skill. The first time you try to play a guitar, your fingers feel clumsy. The sounds you make are terrible. It is frustrating. But if you persist through that initial period of discomfort, your fingers adapt. The chords become familiar. The awkwardness fades, competence, and, eventually, enjoyment. The key is to understand that discomfort is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. It is a sign that you are learning. It is the price of admission for growth. You do not need to leap miles outside your comfort zone into a state of sheer panic. That is counterproductive. Instead, aim to operate right on the edge of your current abilities. You want to stretch yourself, but just a little. Try a new recipe. Take a different route to work. Talk to a stranger at a coffee shop. Pick a workout that is slightly harder than your last one. These are small, manageable doses of discomfort. Over time, this practice expands your comfort zone. The things that once felt scary and strange become normal. Your capacity for handling uncertainty grows. You become more resilient. You start to see challenges not as threats but as opportunities. The goal is not to eliminate comfort from your life. The goal is to get comfortable with being a little uncomfortable. It is to voluntarily and consistently step into small moments of friction. Because in that friction, in that space of slight awkwardness and challenge, is where all progress is made. Staying comfortable is choosing to stay stuck. It really is a choice. We drastically overestimate the importance of single defining moments. We underestimate the value of making small improvements on a daily basis. We think we need a massive breakthrough, a sudden burst of motivation, a grand moment of transformation. But real change, lasting change, rarely happens that way. It is the result of 1,000 tiny steps, each one seemingly insignificant on its own. It is the product of small habits, repeated consistently over time. The power of a tiny step is not in the step itself, but in its repetition. This is the simple math of 1% better every day. Imagine you have a goal to write a book. The thought of writing a 300-page manuscript is overwhelming. It is so big that you never start. But what if you committed to writing just 50 words a day? 2 sentences, 3 sentences. Anyone can do that. It takes less than 5 minutes. If you did that every day, you would have over 18,000 words in a year. That is a solid chunk of a book. The same principle applies everywhere. Want to get in shape? Do not commit to a 2-hour gym session. Start with a 10-minute walk. Want to learn a new language? Do not try to study for hours. Use an app for 5 minutes a day. These small actions do more than just accumulate. They build momentum. An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. The hardest part of any task is getting started. A tiny step is designed to make starting absurdly easy. Once you have taken that first small step, the second step is easier. A 10-minute walk can easily become a 15-minute walk. Reading one page can easily lead to reading a whole chapter. The small habit is the entry point. It is the crack in the dam of inertia. It starts a cascade of positive behavior that you did not have to force with willpower. Every time you perform a small habit, you are casting a vote for the type of person you want to become. When you do 10 minutes of practice, you are not just practicing. You are becoming a practitioner. When you save a small amount of money, you are not just saving. You are becoming a saver. These small wins rewire your self-image. You start to see yourself as someone who shows up. You build a track record of success, no matter how small. This builds genuine, earned confidence. Big goals are not achieved by big leaps. They are achieved by laying one small, perfect brick, day after day. Keep laying those bricks. Few things will influence your life more than your environment, especially the people you spend time with. We are social creatures. We absorb the attitudes, beliefs, habits of those around us. You are the average of the 5 people you associate with most. If your closest friends are cynical, negative, they will subtly pull you down. They will question your ambitions. They will reinforce your doubts. When you try to make a positive change, they might meet it with skepticism or even ridicule. Their inertia becomes your inertia. It is incredibly difficult to build a better life if you are surrounded by architects of mediocrity. Conversely, if you surround yourself with people who are positive, ambitious, supportive, you will be lifted up. Their energy is contagious. When they talk about their goals, it inspires you to think about your own. When they take action, it normalizes the act of striving. They will celebrate your small wins. They will encourage you when you stumble. They will share ideas and resources. A positive environment makes positive choices easier. It makes growth feel like the default option. Your social circle can be a headwind that holds you back or a tailwind that pushes you forward. This does not mean you need to cut all negative people out of your life immediately. That is often not practical or desirable, especially with family. But it does mean you should be intentional about who gets your time and energy. You can consciously choose to spend more time with the people who inspire you, less time with the people who drain you. Seek out new environments. Join a club, a class, a group that is centered around a habit you want to build. Find a running group, a book club, a business mastermind. Curating your environment is a form of discipline. It is about designing your life to make your desired actions easier. This extends beyond people. Look at your physical space. If you want to eat healthier, put healthy food in plain sight. Hide the junk food. If you want to read more, put a book on your pillow. If you want to practice an instrument, leave it out on a stand where you can see it. Make your cues for good habits obvious, and the cues for bad habits invisible. Your environment is always shaping you. The question is whether you're shaping your environment. Motivation is unreliable. It is a fleeting emotion. One day you wake up feeling energized and ready to conquer the world. The next day you feel tired, bored, and uninspired. If you only take action when you feel motivated, you will be inconsistent. You will only work on your goals on the good days. But the good days are not enough to create meaningful change. Success is not built on motivation. It is built on discipline. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and their accomplishment. It is what carries you through the days when you do not feel like it. Discipline is not about punishment or being hard on yourself. It is not about white-knuckling your way through life with sheer willpower. That is a losing strategy. Willpower is a finite resource. It runs out. A more effective approach is to think of discipline as creating simple, unbreakable rules for yourself. It is about building systems that make showing up automatic. A professional writer does not wait for inspiration. They have a disciplined schedule. They write at the same time every day, whether they feel like it or not. They rely on their system, not their mood. Your plan for change should not depend on you feeling good. It should depend on your commitment to a predetermined course of action. This is where small steps become so powerful. It is difficult to force yourself to do something you hate for 2 hours, but it is much easier to be disciplined about a task that takes only 5 minutes. The rule is not I will become a runner. The rule is I will put on my running shoes and step outside every morning. The action is so small that it is hard to say no. This is how you build the habit of showing up. Here is a simple plan you can try today. Pick one small habit you want to build, make it something that takes less than 10 minutes. Now create a simple rule. I will do habit for time, every day at time place. For example, I will read for 10 minutes every day before bed, or I will meditate for 5 minutes every morning right after I brush my teeth. Get a calendar and mark an X for every day you stick to your rule. Do not focus on the results, focus only on not breaking the chain of X's. 1 year from now, you will not recognize the person you have become. It all starts with one small rule, kept today. Your life can change. Start now.